So what I've been doing here is modifying the light switch to work as it should do really on the Fordson. Now, bear in mind, as I keep on saying, this is Ford Model A stuff. It has some extra positions because the car has more lights than the or more functions than the tractor does, like a dim and bright setting for the headlamps in the car. Well, that's how it's described anyway. And there's also feeds to go off to the back rear lights, the brake lights and the horn. So what I've done is got the back of the switch there, stripped it out, and that's the part that we saw earlier on. I've threaded the wiring loom through, which is now down by my feet, and basically worked out that the positions that I need to replicate for the tractor now work inside here. So you can see I've had to turn some of the cables back and take them off. So now we are just running to the red and black one there. That does the headlamps. Now these headlamps there only have one bulb in, and there's not twin filament or anything like that, so they're just on or off, and that's it. The other bit here, the yellow and the red one, that wire there, that comes up from the Dynamo. The blue one, which is only very short, so I'll terminate it somewhere else, that's for the horn, so that goes down through the middle of the switch there. And when you push the button, horn button in the car, it would make contact with that contact on the end there, as I understand. Bear in mind I haven't got a car here to even know that, but that's how I can work out what I think it does. And it earths out and then makes the horn go. So I've got these positions in the end. As you can see, there's also a off position, which is the black plastic divots, 1, 2, and the third one there, which is in the off position. So operating this switch, as you can see, it's got a detent in the top there, which makes it stay in place, and that lines up with that one there. So you have to work out that ring effectively in the switch is the one that passes the current in sequence across any one of those contacts. So what I've got is, and what I've managed to do, even though it's not quite right, but it'll work. So the Dynamo, the power's going to be coming from the Dynamo. Remember, that's either charging this way, or if you've got it switched off and the Dynamo, the engine's not revving hard enough, then the flow of electricity will come backwards from the battery back down this way. Now, there's 3 positions that this should have, which is off altogether, so no charging, no lights. There should be charging only, which will make your ammeter come on just to charge the battery. And then there is the lights on mode on there, so it's just literally headlights on and the rear lights on. So that's what I've worked out from since filming the last little bit. So to replicate that, I've had to remove some of these. So that comes from the Dynamo, that goes to the battery, or vice versa, coming back down to power the lights. And then you've got this, the red and black one, which goes off to the lamps effectively. There's 2 wires because it goes to the left and the right hand lamp, but I'll have to split that off again in there to do the rear lamp off of this one, so I'll have to put another fabric covered wire in, or what I was thinking of doing was actually hijacking the earth wire there and using that. So our green wire comes along, plug him over the back there. Oh, that's the other live for the horn, which comes from the Dynamo. Remember I said it earths it out, so that's the horn earth. So they're the 2 which will go to the horn. So we're not using those, so we'll terminate those and cut them out of the loom. There's the Dynamo. So Dynamo power going off to the battery. That's the horn, which is the one you can see here. And then you've got one of the headlights. And remember, I turned back the green set, so we're only going to use that. And the other earth goes to the, or positive earth, goes to the body of the tractor. There is the other headlamp here. Same again, only using the red one. And then we've got the, where are you? That's the ammeter. So voltage flow either comes from the dynamo this way, across positive, the charge in the battery, or it comes back when the dynamo cuts off, and it comes back that way and powers the lights. But obviously it can't go to anywhere at the dynamo because that switch that I showed you earlier, the voltage cutout, breaks the contact between the dynamo and the tractor, so the current can't go anywhere else other than through the lights when it's ticking over. And when you rev the engine, which it would normally be because it's a tractor, because it'll be working, it's working RPM, it'll be generating and recharging the battery and powering the lights, or vice versa, just doing the charging. So this is the power lead effectively that's going to go to the battery. The negative on the battery, remember, not the positive, because the positive is the earth. Now that's that black one, which came down from the switch, which I've terminated backwards at the moment, but that might be the one that I take off and then run another fabric cable to go to the back lights, or light itself. It's like a little red bullet lamp. I think it comes with a number plate light. So this switch body, as I was trying to explain earlier on, slots into the back of it here, and then I'm not going to put it together yet because I need to insulate these. I don't want to cut them off, I just want to insulate them, but for this purpose I'll show you what happens. It goes in, little pin there, locates in the side, pushes together, turn it around a quarter turn, and then you pull the spring back over to hold it all in. And that is your light switch assembly. And there's the little square drive. Properly. That's a little square drive that drives the switch mechanism, which is a 5/16 square, so I need to put that on the end of the rod, which is going to come from the dashboard and give you positions. So the way it works at the moment, unfortunately I can't get it to do the off, charge and headlights. You've got charge, headlights, off, and then charge only. So it's a bit of a different sequence, but who's going to know? So let me fit this all together and I'll do the next bit. So this is where I've got to so far. I've just started to mock and lay the wiring loom out around the tractor. Obviously it's got to be tidied up, but it's going around the back of the water pump housing there because you don't need a fan or pulley for obvious reasons. And I've just cable tied the switch, so it's got a bit about the right amount of slack to where it'd be sitting underneath the header tank here and by the dynamo, which is sitting here at the moment. But you can kind of see where some of this is going to end up with the headlamp. That's the wire we're not using those two, so they won't be there. And is the dynamo one, and you'll sit on that nut there. When it's all tidied up, I'll put it in a much better position. But the headlamp, as you can see, our red and black, which is going to be our supply up to the bulb, but we have got to change it. I've got to change this now because I've just looked in the back of the bulb unit, and I need an earth. It doesn't actually earth out through the body. I'll show you why. So this is the reflector out of the lamp, and there is the back of the bulb assembly. So you've got one wire goes on one side, some insulation, and then you've got another piece of insulation. The wire goes on the other side, and that makes contact with that bulb. Surprisingly enough, I don't know how old that bulb is, but it's actually still got its continuity. As I said, it's a single filament, if you can see it in there, the reflection and everything. There you go. So yeah, that sits in there. So I've got to make this green one's going to be the earth, so the way the electricity gets back. That's the back side of the lens that I was showing you earlier on, a 6-inch one. Cost me a small fortune, they did. Nice, all the original glass. And while I've got that all to pieces, I actually got out the ammeter. So the ammeter, little Ford Model T, I think that one is. It's the same as the A. And then the bezel, which came from America, which was more in postage than it actually was for the actual part, but that is the bezel which the ammeter sits in there, like that. If you ask, I can give you all the links to where to get all these bits and pieces from. And that then sits, around to the right side, need a bigger gauge. There we are, that's the driving position there. I'm probably going to take this toolbox off because I don't really need it, but the ammeter will sit just down there, you see the 3 holes that lines up on it, and that's where it'll sit. And the light switch, which I showed you earlier on, comes through that hole there. That's it, and it'll stick out, a bit like that, but that's what it does. The other 2, I think one's for the horn button over this side on the industrial. Don't know what that one's for, but someone probably will somewhere. Trying to make this up as I go along, really, from what I can find for these things, which is pretty scarce, really. But yeah, that's it. So headlamps are wired, and 1, 2. I put an auxiliary power supply on them at the moment, so they're just going back through, so doing what the switch should be doing. But because we haven't got any of the other connections at the moment done, I'll just run them up like that. Just flick him off. There you go. Here you can see that's in the cowled mode. Back on the other side of this bloody wire without tripping it or anything. Got a bit of a beam there, see it? That's the headlamp. And then if we flip this up, that's the other one working. Flip this up, back to a big headlamp. And we've got some proper light. And that's what it looks like. Cowled over there, and flipped open. Put the lights back on, so we get over the right side of the cable. There you go. Don't know what wattage that bulb is, but it is a 12 volt bulb. So we did check that before. Turn them on so we can blow them to bits. Yeah, that's what it does. A bit of the switch there, so I've just taken it to pieces. But theoretically, if I put the ammeter on there, and also the live to where the Dynamo would be charging to, it would work. Now I've just been checking the Dynamo. Now the Dynamo actually is a negative earth dynamo, so we're actually going to have to wire this up like a normal tractor would be. So negative earth, and that is the headlamp lens that came with it, the genuine Butler glass. Top, that's the little catch bit, it's just falling out. But yeah, that's what I've got 2 of those, and that's what was originally on there. But give it a bit more of a wartime look, gone for one of those.